Thank you for joining us today in this edition of the Economics Hour. With the current economic situation, countries have been trying everything possible to pull themselves out of an economic rut.
Solutions are being exhausted, though.
But perhaps pulling everyone together is a solution to the whole crisis.
A world monetary union in the form of a single global currency is one alternative currently being discussed.
We hit the streets to find out what current opinions and knowledge are on the issue.
Have you ever heard of a movement called the push for a single global currency?
I think I've heard of it, but I'm not entirely sure what it is.
What do you know about a single global currency? Like, what information do you know about it, if any?
I don't actually know any information.
Okay. Would you be in support of lowered exchange rates for a currency when traveling outside of the United States?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The implementation would be the problem, because currently currencies all over the world are dispersed as their relative strengths, and so to assign a global currency would disrupt the financial systems of many different nations. In theory, it's a great idea that way. Again, you don't have the horrible practice of exchange rate and differentiating of countries' strengths, and everybody's tied to a currency, but that also means if that currency ever failed because of the global unit, then everybody would suffer at the same rate, not responsible to their actions.
How would you feel if a single global currency was instituted tomorrow?
I feel it'd be a good idea because American dollars eventually could come off the oil, so it's inevitable that something's going to have to change.
Would you be in support of a globalization in general? Like giving up the American culture in order for everyone in the world to have the same culture?
Yes, but I don't think that'd be possible.
No? Is there any particular reason for that?
Just to convince the mass population of one single idea is pretty hard.
If it was enacted tomorrow, would you be in support of it or against it?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I'd have to say, given our current situation, I would be opposed to it.
What if it meant being economically tied to a failing economy? Like you had the same economy as, I don't know, Greece.
A failing economy?
A failing economy.
Now that you've seen what others have to say on the issue, let's get down to the details and tell you what you really need to know.
So, Maddie, we're talking about a single global currency today. What do you think about it?
Well, it would improve trade among countries that may not have traded before due to financial boundaries.
So because of this, there'll be increased trade and lower exchange rates. So the cost to consumer will actually be cheaper and profits can increase.
That's great, because the economy that we're in today really needs a change.
It also increases the world's assets and increases GDP activity across the board.
That's what we really need in this economy, because this instability is just not cutting it.
And the single global currency could potentially provide that stability that we are seeking. The US dollar is declining so rapidly that it might be a good idea to switch to a more stable currency.
Excellent. And from there, the push for globalization will be a breeze. Europe and the euro have already proved that this is a viable strategy.
Now, the one thing about this is that every country's economy will be tied together. So if one economy fails, stronger economies will have to bolster it up until it stabilizes. But that's just associated with this sort of economics.
But it could lead to agreements on other issues going on in the world because countries will be more willing to work together.
We'll have to work together anyway to get all countries to implement this. So we'll already bridge that gap.
Great points. In our next segment, we'll try to display how a single global currency could affect you.
We'll show the two couples and how currency exchange influences their travel experiences.
So you may be thinking, how does this relate to my everyday life?
We follow the stories of two couples, Anna and Christopher, and Brigitte and Wolfgang, as they traveled around the world.
Let's take a look at how a standardized currency affected their travel experience.
Now boarding Flight 69 to Australia.
All right, honey, you ready to go?
I am so excited. I've been waiting for this for so long.
I know, this is my first time out of the country.
Me too. It's so hard to live in America on your plumber's salary.
Okay. I just hope that Australia takes US dollars.
I want to see a kangaroo.
That would be so rad. They're so hoppy.
And a koala.
Okay, there's no such thing as koalas. Get your head out of the fantasy world. Okay, let's be real now. What are we going to do if Australia doesn't take our dollars?
You know what? Sydney is bound to have a fifth thirds. We'll be fine.
Well, we best get skedaddling. Our flight leaves in 10 minutes.
This is going to be splendid for us. Look at the mountain, Chris.
There are no mountains. It's just a desert.
Look at the rock, Chris. It's so big. We came all the way to Australia for this one rock. And there's no ATM at 42 while we were in Sydney at a Disney movie that I've never seen. If you thought this was romantic, you're a terrible husband.
Well, there's still stuff to see in China. There are many historical places that we can visit. But we should pick up some Aussie dollars before we go, just as some souvenirs.
The drive from Germany to Athens was so wonderful, don't you think, Bridget?
I do agree. It was so relaxing to leave Germany for another bit.
I've been very excited to see this Parthenon. I've heard many good things about Athens, but I'm very excited to see it for my first time.
I hear Athens is great this time of year.
I've talked to many of my friends and they say it's very nice.
I can't believe we've never decided to come here. We can drive unlike so many other people.
Yes, it's very quite close, but my plumber's salary doesn't always allow for great fun.
Where's all the green?
There's the Great Wall of China. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. You can see it from outer space.
But I've never been to space, and I can't even see it from the house.
Well, look at it now. Think of all the hundreds of years it took to erect such a monument, and how many hundreds of millions of man-hours it took to put into this one project. Let's go to Beijing. You know they had the 2008 Olympics there, right?
That sounds so cool. Sounds like a lot of fun, too.
But we still need to exchange our money for yen, because we won't be able to buy any souvenirs without it.
If they take any more money off the top like they did in Australia, then we won't have any money left to go on the rest of our trip.
The Vatican City really is nice this time of year. There's so many colors, and I love seeing the Pope.
There's so many beautiful paintings, and when the Pope came out to speak to us, we were in a crowd of 10,000.
Do you know what I thought was very funny?
What's that?
He was wearing a pointy hat.
Only visitors wear pointy hats. Ha!
You know what we need to take back to your mother, Brigitte?
What's that? She collects rocks!
She collects rocks, Brigitte.
We should take rocks from the ground, and we should take them to her. She would be so proud.
At least, see, we're taking up her this time, and she'll say, at least this time.
I love these triangles. This was such a great idea.
You know, the pharaohs had these built as tombs for themselves. Isn't that amazing?
That's really cool. But you know what's not cool?
I think I know where you're going with this. We only have about $20 left, and we still have to go to Paris. These damn banks keep taking our money like it's nobody's business.
These stupid banks keep stealing our money. I think I want to steal it back.
Don't you love Paris? The Eiffel Tower is so much bigger in person.
It's so pretty here. I've always wanted to go to Paris. Oh, Chris, this is the most wonderful anniversary ever.
I feel like James Bond. All I need now is the Aston Martin, because I've already got the beautiful girl. Moving on, though, how much money do you think we still have?
Not enough to get out of an emergency. I think we're about down to 15 US dollars. And we started at 50.
I think what we, or someone needs to do, is convince these banks to unify all the currencies so that they can't get away with this highway robbery anymore.
Yeah, and if everyone was on the dollar, then traveling would be so much easier.
I see what you mean, Anna.
We'll have to think harder next time we travel.
Do you all need any directions? You look a bit lost.
No, sir. We were just complaining about these exchange rates. They're ridiculous.
Yes, they very much are. You should really consider traveling within your own trade union. You can save your money that way.
Ma'am, do you know where the nearest currency exchange bank is?
I haven't the slightest idea. We never have to exchange money here.
Well, that's fantastic. I guess we better salvage what's left of our vacation and then head home to America.
Don't you think these castles are so wonderful?
The castles are great.
I wish the American couple could get to see this.
But they don't have the money. They were out of money when they got to Paris.
Maybe if they were more educated on economics, they could have a more successful system like ours. They could get to travel the world like we do.
This is true. I think we did a good thing telling them about a single currency.
They could do very well, making a difference.
If the entire world was the same as the Eurozone, then everybody could travel the world like we do without worrying about exchange rates.
So I want to thank Brigitte and Wolfgang for joining us today on the Economic Hour. Tell me about your trip. How was it?
It was great. We had no problems whatsoever.
Now, one thing that a lot of people complain about while traveling is exchanging money. Did you have to do any of that?
No, we didn't. We didn't have to do any of that. We traveled all in the Eurozone, but we did not actually have to do anything. We had to help an American couple out. I think they were having some trouble.
So what you're saying is that you didn't have to exchange money at all?
No, it was really quite great.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how did that affect your travel experience?
We traveled with great ease, no problems. We saw the Pope and we saw the Eiffel Tower and we collect rocks for my mother and no exchanging money. It was so easy.
So how do you think exchanging money would have affected your travel experience?
We would have lost money from exchange rates.
It's also difficult to find these banks. The American couple could not find them and we didn't know where they were at. It just seems like such a pain.
Well, thank you all so much for your time. Now I'll turn it over to Maddie, who's with Ina and Chris.
So, tell me about your travels.
It was fantastic. We saw this huge rock in Australia, the Great Wall of China, all these triangles in Egypt, and the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But we ran out of money, so our trip was cut short.
She had a great time, but she thinks that plumbers can grow money on trees. We had to exchange American dollars for Aussie dollars, then to yen, and all that jazz. And we only ended up with 15 of that first 50 that we started with. We probably only spent, what, 10 of it?
Well, that just sounds like it wasn't a very fun experience. So would you all have had a better time if you could bypass exchanging money?
Yes. They were taking money off the top. It was like we were buying money instead of exchanging it.
I agree. I would have had a much better time if I didn't have to worry about paying the extra exchange rate.
It is such an inconvenience.
Did you have any other problems when it came to exchanging money?
We could not find a Fifth Thirds in Sydney.
The most difficult part really was finding a place to exchange our money. It was worse in France because they're all in the Eurozone and many of the people visiting are also on the Euro. So no currency exchange has to occur for them.
Would you be in favor of a single global currency?
Definitely for a traveling experience. We would have had so much better of a time.
It would have expedited the process so much and have lowered the stress of it all.
Yes, well, thank you very much for joining us today and recounting your travel experiences.
Now you have seen how this can directly affect your life. Although this is not being talked about in general discourse, it is definitely a possibility for the future.
The pros of this issue can definitely be seen in the lowering of exchange rates, ease of trade between countries, and added benefits between the global community.
This is in the realm of possibility, but there are several aspects of this plan that need to be ironed out and be discussed more readily.
We don't know if this proposal will ever make it to the table, but now you can decide if it should or not.
That's all the time we have now on the Economic Hour. Until next time, keep your friends close and your wallet closer.